Okay, hello audience. Everyone here today agrees that they are over 16 years of age and they consent to being recorded or streamed live for my Speech 101 course. Only my instructor in online class will view recording for educational purposes. The audience must reply yes while being recorded.
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
So today my topic of interest is on Eli Wiesel. He was born on September 30th, 1928 in Romania. In his book Night, he describes his early life growing up in a concentration camp during the 1940s. In this concentration camp, he deals with a lot of turmoil, seeing bodies burned, gas chambers, starvation, death, just a lot of death. But after the war, he uses all that bad and turns it into good with his work as he became an author, a journalist, a professor, and a human rights activist. Sadly, all good things have to come to an end, and he was later laid to rest on July 2nd of 2016. The first thing that stands out to me from Wiesel was his perseverance through Auschwitz. It's better to try than to not try at all. And he uses this with his faith. It was really hard to keep his faith, but he kept maneuvering through it. As an example to the conditions, there's a quote that states, "Never shall I forget that smoke," and that was stated by the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum. And that's just an example of what the Germans did to bodies when they threw them in incinerators. That was all the smoke. And as to the second thing, it would be the importance of family. When he first arrived at the camp, it was him, his father, his mother, and I think three siblings. His mother and his three siblings, they were separated from him. So it was just him and his father going to the camp. While in camp, he did do a lot to make sure like his father was okay, including risking his own life and maybe some of others. A great example of this is a quote from the book Night, and it states, "And I hit him harder and harder. At last, my father's eyes half opened." And a little context to this is so when him and his father were on the train to Buchenwald, the concentration camp, the Germans stopped the train halfway through to throw out the dead bodies on the cart. And since his father was asleep, and wasn't waking up. They just presumed he was dead. So Eli did all he could, hit him, screamed at him to wake him up, and thankfully his father made it out. So that was always good. Third thing I want to talk about is his mental fortitude. I think it's inhumane because seriously, like I don't understand how a person can like go through dead bodies consistently, seeing starvation, gas chambers, bullets, digging their own people. Like it's just not a good sight to see and not a good place to live in. So he really had to be strong up here. Additionally, towards the end of night, his father actually passes away. And instead of just blatantly giving up, he continues to push forward and you know, and he just knows that eventually some good has to come out of it, and it did. He made it out. Transitioning into how big of an influence he was on the three more or less big things I would say is his influence on family, his influence on your mental, and the influence on cherishing the things you have here. When it comes to family, it actually gets really personal with me because context, back in sixth grade, my parents had a nasty split, but it affected me and my mom's relationship a lot. And we weren't on good terms for a couple years. But I remember freshman year reading this book, and I want to say the same week, like when I finished the book, I wound up calling her and we wound up making amends and patching things up. And I'm actually really thankful for that. As well as me and my father, back in eighth grade, December 18th, 2017, my father had a stroke that corrupted his ability to walk and his coordination. So it was really difficult for me to see such a he was my rock, he was my bull, he was just such a strong figure in my life. And from that to going into being like fragile like glass, just brittle, always having to make sure to take care of him, it affected me for a little bit. But eventually I kind of got the idea that hey, that's always my dad and I shouldn't be scared to have a relationship with him, although things have changed. And that's why I think Wiesel really influenced me in that part of my life. Second would be perseverance or mental. Even when it comes to this speech, like everybody has nerves, and you know, you'd rather do the speech nervously than not turn in something at all. If you don't turn in anything, you won't get the credit for it. And that's kind of my little takeaway from that. And then when it comes to cherishing, it sounds very cliche, but I mean, you really do have to cherish the things that you have. Everybody's in a different position than you, and you don't know who has it worse, who has it better, whatever the case is. Sometimes you just have to step back and reflect on, hey, I'm okay, I'm alive, I'm breathing, everything's okay, I'm still in control of my life. And that's honestly a really big takeaway that I took from Wiesel. In conclusion, I think he was an awesome writer and an awesome inspiration. In 1986, he won the Nobel Peace Prize and quote for being a messenger to the world. So if that doesn't show how much of an inspiration he was, then I don't know what will. And overall, that's my speech on Eli Wiesel, and thank you guys for listening.